Let's say it happens. Tomorrow morning you wake up and the sky is wrong. The air smells like something you've never breathed. There are trees you don't recognize, and somewhere out past the tree line, something very large is moving. You've been dropped into the Cretaceous 70 million years before you were supposed to exist. Now here's the question everyone gets wrong. How long do you last? Almost everyone imagines the same scene: a predator, teeth, a chase. That's the image we've been fed our entire lives, and it's the least interesting part of the answer, because the things that would actually kill you in the age of dinosaurs are almost entirely invisible. You'd probably be dying before you ever saw a single large animal. So let's do this properly. Let's take a tribe of ancient humans, real ones, fully equipped, and drop them into the Mesozoic. Fire, spears, language, and everything 100,000 years of survival taught them. And let's find out exactly what happens to them, in order from the first breath. Start with that first breath, because it might be the thing that ends this immediately. You'd expect the air to be the safe part. It isn't. And the strange thing is that scientists genuinely disagree about what the air was even made of, and both possibilities are bad for you. Some studies, based on gases trapped in ancient amber, suggest that oxygen levels during much of the dinosaur era were considerably lower than today. Today's atmosphere is about 21% oxygen. Some of these results propose figures as low as 10 to 15%. If that's the case, you have a serious problem. 15% oxygen is roughly what you'd experience standing on a mountain around 3,000 meters up. Some people function there, many don't. You get headaches, nausea, exhaustion, your thinking slows, and critically, you cannot exert yourself. Try to sprint at that oxygen level, unacclimatized, and you'll be on your hands and knees within seconds. That matters more than it sounds, because running is our entire strategy. Humans are not strong and we are not fast, but we are absurdly good at not stopping. Our whole hunting method is to keep moving until the other animal overheats and quits. Take away our endurance, and you have removed the one physical advantage our species has. But here's where it gets strange. Other research, also based on amber, also on trapped ancient air, came to the opposite conclusion. Those studies suggested oxygen levels far above today's, possibly in the 30 to 35% range. And that's not better. That's a different disaster. At 35% oxygen, the world becomes flammable. Fires ignite more easily and spread far faster, in wetter material, under conditions that wouldn't burn today. A lightning strike doesn't start a fire, it starts a catastrophe, and your own campfire. The thing your species depends on becomes something you may not be able to control. So the honest answer is that we don't know which version of the atmosphere you're breathing. What we know is that either one is hostile to you in a different way. Either you're gasping or you're living inside a tinderbox. Now let's talk about the heat. The Cretaceous was warm, not slightly warm. During the peak, around 90 million years ago, carbon dioxide levels rose above 1,000 parts per million, several times pre-industrial levels, and global temperatures climbed accordingly. There were no permanent polar ice caps. Forests grew at latitudes that are frozen tundra today. Humans are actually built for heat. That's not nothing. We sweat across our entire skin surface, we're mostly hairless, and we can dump heat while moving in a way almost no other large animal can. That's the endurance hunting advantage again. But that advantage has a ceiling, and the ceiling is humidity. Sweating only cools you if the sweat evaporates. In hot, humid, swampy air, it doesn't evaporate. It just sits on your skin. And a warm greenhouse world with elevated precipitation is exactly that kind of environment. So the one climate advantage humans have gets partially canceled. And combine that with possibly low oxygen, and your tribe now cannot chase anything, cannot cool efficiently, and tires quickly. Before any dinosaur has noticed you exist, you've already been downgraded from apex predator to something slow and struggling. Now the part almost nobody thinks about. What are you going to eat? Try to picture a meal in the Cretaceous, and you'll immediately run into a problem. There is no wheat, no rice, no corn, no potatoes, no apples, no bananas, no oranges as you know them. Flowering plants existed and were spreading fast during this period, but the specific fruits and grains that feed our species are the products of tens of millions of years of later evolution and then thousands of years of human breeding on top of that. Grasses were only beginning to appear. The vast open grasslands that shaped human history, the plains full of grazing herds, don't exist yet. That entire landscape, the one we're adapted to, is missing. So farming is is out. There is nothing to farm, and that's the foundation of every civilization we've ever built. Herding is out too. Domestication requires animals with the right temperament, the right social structure, and a willingness to breed under human control. Cattle, sheep, goats, horses, pigs, none of them exist. The mammals sharing this world with you are mostly small, and many are nocturnal, and none of them are going to give you milk. That leaves hunting and gathering, which is what your tribe knows best. But gathering means knowing which plants are safe, and that knowledge is a library built over generations of trial and death in a specific environment. Here, every plant is unfamiliar. Every berry is a coin flip. Your ancestors learned what was edible by watching people die, slowly, over thousands of years. You don't have thousands of years. Which brings us to the thing that would probably actually kill you, and it's not a dinosaur. It's the microbes. Your immune system is not a general-purpose shield. It's a highly specific record of what your ancestors survived. Every defense you carry exists because something similar tried to kill your lineage and failed. Drop that system into an ecosystem 70 million years removed from anything it has ever encountered, and it is essentially blank. We already know how this plays out on a much smaller scale. When populations that had been separated for only a few thousand years made contact in human history, the diseases that crossed between them were catastrophic. Not because anyone was weak, but because their immune systems had no record of those specific pathogens. Now multiply that gap by 70 million years. Every cut, every insect bite, every mouthful of unfamiliar water is an introduction to organisms your body has no concept of. And there is no medicine, no antibiotics, and nobody to help. Statistically, the fever is far more likely to end you than the teeth. But let's talk about the teeth anyway, because it's not what you think. If you imagine a large theropod hunting your tribe specifically, that's probably wrong. Not because it couldn't kill you, but because you're not worth it. A large predator has enormous energy requirements. Its prey is measured in tons. An adult human is around 70 kilograms of mostly bone and stringy muscle, and we're erratic and quick and we make noise. To a truly large predator, you are barely a snack, and an annoying one. The real danger is smaller and smarter. Mid-sized predators hunting in groups. Animals fast enough to catch you, numerous enough to persist, and small enough that you are actually a reasonable meal for them. That's what would follow your tribe. Not the thing from the movies, the thing at knee height that doesn't leave. And the second real danger is one people never mention. You don't know what's dangerous. Every animal alive today grew up in a world where humans are known. Most large animals avoid us because they've learned to. In the Cretaceous, nothing has ever seen a human. Nothing has any reason to fear you, and nothing has any reason to avoid you. Every encounter is a first encounter, for both of you, and you have no instincts calibrated for this world. You don't know which animal is a threat and which is harmless. You don't know which sounds mean danger. That herd of large herbivores you're keeping your distance from might be completely indifferent to you, while the smaller thing you're ignoring is exactly what kills you. Your entire threat detection system is built for African savanna, and it's now returning garbage. There's one more problem, and it's the quietest one: water. Every river, every pool, every puddle in that world is full of organisms your gut has never processed, and unlike food, you cannot ration water or wait it out. A human without water is finished in about 3 days. So you drink, knowing what's in it, because the alternative is faster. Your tribe would be sick constantly, not dramatically, just permanently. Weak, dehydrated, losing fluid as fast as you take it in. And a sick tribe cannot hunt, cannot defend a perimeter, and cannot travel to find better ground. And underneath all of it is the arithmetic nobody wants to do. A human pregnancy takes 9 months. A human child is helpless for years and doesn't become useful for a decade. Compare that to almost anything else in that ecosystem where the young are mobile within days. That slowness works for us today because we have safety. Take the safety away and it becomes an enormous liability. Every child is a decade-long investment that can be erased in one bad night. In an environment with unfamiliar disease, unreliable food, and constant threat, the losses would come faster than the births could replace them. You wouldn't be conquering anything. You'd be running a population that shrinks slightly every year. So far, this is bleak. Now let's give humans their one real weapon, because there is one, and it's genuinely enormous: fire. In 70 million years of the Mesozoic, nothing had ever controlled fire. There is no animal in that world with any concept of a creature that carries flame deliberately, keeps it alive, and uses it as a tool. Wildfires exist, and every animal there knows to flee them, which means fire is the one thing in your possession that every single creature already fears instinctively. Your tribe can hold a fire line. You can burn a perimeter. You can move at night with torches through a world where most predators can see better than you, but none of them will approach the light. And fire gives you the second thing, which is cooking. It kills pathogens in unfamiliar meat and unlocks calories from plants you couldn't otherwise digest. In a world where the food is alien and the microbes are lethal, cooking is not a luxury. It's the single most important piece of technology you brought with you. So put it all together. What actually happens to your tribe? A lone individual dropped into the Cretaceous is probably dead within days. Dehydrated, feverish, exhausted, poisoned by something they ate because they had no choice. A prepared tribe with fire is a different story. They could last, perhaps generations, but look closely at what that life would be. They wouldn't be hunting great beasts. They'd be defending a small perimeter. They'd be nocturnal or crepuscular, because moving in open daylight in that heat, at that oxygen level, watched by things with no fear of them, is a bad plan. They'd stay near water and near cover. They'd eat small things, fish, eggs, insects, whatever a scout survived eating last week. And here's the part that should land. That description, small groups, hiding, active in the dark, eating whatever they can find, staying close to shelter, sticking to the margins, is exactly how our actual ancestors lived during the age of dinosaurs. Because they were there. Mammals existed for the entire reign of the dinosaurs, over 150 million years of it. They were small. Most were nocturnal. They lived in burrows and undergrowth and stayed out of the way. They did not compete. They hid. And that long hiding is precisely why you exist in the form you do. Sharp hearing and a good sense of smell because you were operating in the dark. Warm blood so you could function at night when the cold-blooded world slowed down. Live birth and milk so the young could be kept hidden and fed without leaving them exposed. A brain that had to model a dangerous world it couldn't see clearly. Everything that makes you what you are was forged in the shadow of dinosaurs by ancestors that spent 150 million years avoiding them. So drop humans back into that world and we would slot right back into the niche we came from. Not rulers, tenants, hiding in the dark exactly like our great-grandparents did for longer than we can properly imagine. Which leaves the last question, and it's the one that actually matters. Why aren't dinosaurs still in charge? Not because we beat them, we never met them, and if we had, we would have lost. They were removed. An asteroid roughly 10 kilometers across struck the planet 66 million years ago, and in the aftermath, most of what lived at that scale died. The large were annihilated. The small, burrowing, hiding, low metabolism survivors, our ancestors, crawled out into an empty world. And that emptiness is the only reason any of this happened. There was suddenly nothing occupying the large animal niches, no competition. Mammals didn't outcompete dinosaurs. They inherited a vacancy. Every large mammal that has ever lived, every horse, every whale, every elephant, every human being exists because a rock hit the Gulf of Mexico at the right moment. So the honest answer to what happens if ancient humans lived alongside dinosaurs is this. Nothing much. We'd be small, careful, nocturnal, and marginal, exactly as our ancestors were for 150 million years. We were never the animals that beat the dinosaurs. We're the animals that were still hiding when they left.